Hi guys, welcome to my channel Final Beauty, or welcome back. I'm Debbie if you don't know me. For today's video we're going to be testing out a brand new eyeshadow palette. So I'm super excited. This only launched yesterday and I've got it in my hands today, and it's the Beauty Bay Dark Fantasy palette. Now if you've been around here before, you know I'm on a low buy. I'm aiming to buy 10 palettes or less this year. So I was really impressed with the colour story of this one though, and I just knew I had to add it to my collection as soon as I saw it. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to give you a close-up of the palette so you can see the colour story. I don't do swatches, so we won't be doing that on my channel. I'm sure you'll find other reviews doing that, but what we are going to be doing is doing a tutorial of a look that you can create with the colours in here, and then I'm going to give you my initial impressions, because when I picked up the last Beauty Bay palette that I've tried, which was a long time ago, the Nikki Tutorials palette, I wasn't keen on the shimmer formula. It just wasn't for me because you couldn't pick it up very easily with a brush. So I'm eager to see whether my impressions of that have changed, because I know people love the Beauty Bay palettes. They get such a lot of hype on YouTube. So I just wanted to try another one and yeah, give my impressions on it. So if that all sounds good to you, why don't we hop just straight into the video. Hey guys, so the Beauty Bay Dark Fantasy palette then, it retails for £15 on Beauty Bay's site. I'll link where you can get it. I think it's $18 if you're from the US. I've got a hall pass, so this is why I got it so quickly. You get it next day delivery and free delivery if you've got a hall pass in the UK. And yeah, why don't I just show you the inside of the palette, because I'm sure that's what you all want to see. I don't think I've been so excited for a colour story in a palette for a long time. As soon as I saw the pictures of this, I was like, need this in my life. It's got all of the grungy, deep, dark tones that I enjoy. So there's a dark red, a dark purple, there's a really deep, like emerald green matte in there. So it was all about the mattes for me. So even if I don't like the shimmers, I think I'll be happy I got it. But obviously we're going to test some of the shimmers as well today. And we're going to do a look, as I say, incorporating some of those colours. Probably green and purple, I think. But let's just take a moment for the packaging. Look at this packaging. It's very Matrix inspired. You know, you've got sort of a bit of holographic kind of action going on here, but you've got all of like the source code kind of coming down the front of the palette. On the back, there's just more of that kind of source code coming down, and then you've got that it's vegan and cruelty free, 12 months shelf life, it's made in the PRC. It does say if the product enters the eyes, then wash out thoroughly with plenty of clean water, and that was my problem with the shimmers. They've got some really beautiful reflective particles in the Beauty Bay shimmers, or the ones that I tried from the Nikki Tutorials palette. But I'm a contact lens wearer and I'm terrified of getting glitter particles in my eyes, so we'll see how that goes. But it does say as well that some colours contain pigments which according to US law may not be suitable for use in the eye area. In the UK or EU, those pigments are not considered a problem, and it's mainly because they could stain. So if you're sensitive to staining, then you know it's something to watch out for, but that's the only thing. It doesn't say which ones, it just says some. That's not very helpful for people that are worried about that. Okay, so onto the palette though. So we've got a good healthy mix of mattes and shimmers in here. We've got one of those shades that's like a matte with sparkles, the sequin shades. I'm really disappointed in that, because it did say on the website that it was a black shimmer, but it's not. It's one of those mattes with sparkles. It does look pretty, but the sparkles won't stay. I know they don't with those sort of shades. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shimmers, and then we've got 10 mattes. And the shimmers, some of them I can see from looking in the pan, I've got like those glittery particles. So the green one here that's called Machine, and the shade here Encrypted, they look glittery. Some of them just look like really impactful shimmers, like Transmission at the top there is one of those. And then we've got some that are a bit more satiny. So we've got this one, Nightmare, the purple shimmer, and the blue one here, Source. That just looks more like a satin kind of shimmer shade and not so impactful. So there's different formulas in here. What I'm going to do is do a green eye look, but with a purple lower lash line. So we'll get to test out some of the formulas here and see what I think of them. Okay, so I'm just going to scoot you in a bit closer so that you can see what's going on my eyes. And we're going to prime today with the MAC Soft Ochre paint pot. No particular reason why I've chosen that one really, I just fancied trying that one today. I've been using the Sigma eyeshadow base in Persuade a lot, but I just wanted something a little bit kind of a neutral colour, because that one does have a pinky tone to it, a bit like the Painterly paint pot if you're familiar with that. And I wanted one that was kind of neutral because I'm going in with green shadow, so that's probably the reason, but I just fancied using this anyway. Okay, so what I fancy to do is do a bit of a halo eye with the greens. So we're going to start with the shade Plasma, this one up here, and we're just going to pack that on the inner and outer, taking it quite high. I just want to give myself a bit of a base to then build the darker green onto, which is the shade Spaced. That's a very pale minty kind of shade. Good blending out shade for the Spaced colour, but it's not particularly pigmented. Maybe that'll be a good thing, as I say, if you want to use it as a blending out shade. So I'm just taking that on the inner and outer of my eye and not taking it through the centre because I want to put another shade through the centre. So I'm just using a Morphe M506 just to give us a wash of colour here, just to start the halo eye, and I'm not taking anything onto the lower lash line because I'm going to do purple there. That's built up quite nicely. As I say, it's not the most pigmented in the world, it's more of a pastel kind of shade, but that's okay. I'm going to take it out fairly far in a rounded sort of shape because I want to do my signature wing through it, so it needs to kind of be a rounded shape and quite visible in the look as well. Alright, now we're going to take the shade Spaced, this green matte here. It's like a beautiful dark forest green. I hope this one is as good as it looks because it looks beautiful. So I'm just going to pack that into the outer corner and slightly higher than my crease, because when I do a halo eye, to give me lots of room, I like to do that. I did get a little bit of fallout from that shape. I am going in quite heavy with it, so that's probably why. I'm going to tap my brush off on this side, see if I can avoid getting green fallout. But I'm going to go in with a green highlighter, so that'll help with the fallout situation and cover that up a little bit. But yeah, just really wanted to pack that colour into the outer corner, and it is really nice and deep, so I do like that about it. Not coming across the crease with that one, just keeping that focused in the inner and the outer, and I'm going a bit lower with this shade than I did with the original shade, the Plasma shade we started with, because my halo eyes can get pretty carried away if I'm not careful, so just want to keep that focused on the lid there. Already I've gone up into the crease on that side, which I didn't want to do, so I'm going to have to do the same on this side so that it matches. I'm just going back in with a touch of that Plasma shade just to tone things down a bit in this inner corner. I think we've gotten away with it. I don't think that looks too bad actually. I'm not worrying too much about this inner corner or lower lash line because we're going to go in with purple and cover that up anyway. Now I've got that dark colour laid down, just fluffing around the edges with that Plasma shade again, just to try and get it as blended as we can, but it's blending okay. As I say, I like the Beauty Bay mattes, I think they're pretty good. Alright, I'm going to go in with NYX Glitter Primer and put it everywhere where we haven't got shadow at the moment. I'm taking that primer a little bit higher than my lid, as I say, just into the crease a little bit, just to give us that illusion that we've got more eye space than we do. Right, now using that sticky brush that's still got a bit of the NYX Glitter Primer on it, we're going to go in with the shade Machine, so this one here. And I'm hoping if I'm using the brush sticky it will pick up better, because I know these do pick up well if using with your fingers, but I hate doing that, so it's one of the reasons I don't swatch as well. I just don't like putting my fingers into my makeup. You guys who've been here before know this because I've said it before. Actually, that's picking up way better using the brush kind of sticky from the glitter primer, and it looks really pretty. So yeah, I'm not hating that, and I'm not getting any specks in my eyes. It's a beautiful shade. Just putting that on the inner and outer, and I'm not worrying too much whether I've blended that into the matte. We can go and sort that out afterwards. I'm just kind of placing it at the moment, each side of the halo. These seem to perform way better than I remember, or perhaps my technique has improved. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not having any specks of fallout or anything. It's super glitzy, that shade. So for the centre of the halo, I'm going to go in with the shade Encrypted. So this one here. That one I'm struggling to pick up on the brush. I think, yeah, would do well if you had like a sponge tipped applicator to apply that one. It's kind of a little bit like putty like in the pan, and it's not picking up at all well on this brush. I think I'm going to have to go in with my fingers to get any sort of payoff. Yeah, as soon as you do that, you see the difference. As soon as you do that, that sort of shade just has to be applied with your fingers, I think. It's not too bad applying with your fingers for a shade that's going in the centre of your lids, but if you're trying to put it into the inner corner, like, or inner part of your lid, then it's difficult to be precise. That's another reason why I'm not a fan of that. But now I've applied it with my finger, it does look super glitzy and pretty. I'm just using the brush with the original dark matte, the spaced shade, just to blend in the shimmer with the matte, but doesn't really seem to need too much blending. For the centre of my crease, and just to add a little bit of interest as well, I want to go in with the shade Slime. That's just going to help us close up that halo, but we're going way higher than my natural crease. We haven't got much of that in the look, but it's just enabling me to try out another shade. It's another fairly light shade, to be honest, but a different tone to the plasma shade, and I just thought I would add something to the look. Just using that to help me blend that matte and shimmer together in the crease as well. For my waterline, I'm going to go in with a Barry M High Vis liner. This is in the shade Dangerous. And then for the lower lash line, we're going to go in with the shade Grunge here. I'm using a lip brush to do this. Actually, it's an Urban Decay one, but I do like it for getting super close to my lower lash line. I'm not blending it where it meets that green because it's really not going to blend with that, but we're going to cover kind of the join there with a wing. I love that purple, it's beautiful. Make it not quite so harsh there. I'm just going with a bit more just to re-intensify it so we haven't blended it all away. The front part of the lower lash line, I'm going to try that shade Nightmare. Just pat that onto a pencil brush, and I'm just going to take that, as I say, just on that front portion there. That's more of a satin shimmer, not more of my kind of shimmer actually. It's not got any fallout at all, it's quite creamy shimmer, really pretty. Then for my inner corner highlight, I'm going to go in with the shade Transmission here, this one. Just added a little bit of glitz into that inner corner there. Okay, so that's the look so far. So I'm going to hop off camera to do a wing liner, mascara and a lip, and I'll be back with you to show you the finished look and to give you my first impressions of the palette. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. Really happy with it. I love how deep and dark and dramatic it is, and I think it'd be perfect for Halloween as well with the colours. To finish it off, I've used a highlighter from Kaleidos Makeup. This is Laser Glazer. Sadly, this is discontinued now, but I think this is just the perfect highlight for the look, with having some sort of green sparkles to it and a bit alien kind of vibe as well. And then I did a black wing with the Illamsqua gel liner. And then just to add a bit of an accent to that, I use the Suva Beauty UV Brights palette and use the purple shade from there, just as a little accent underneath the wing there. And then on my lips today, I've got the Melt lipstick from the Beetlejuice collection in the shade Ghost with the Most. So my thoughts on the palette then. Well, I love the mattes. I didn't have a problem at all with the mattes, which was my experience before when I tried Beauty Bay. I still don't think the shimmers are really me. They're not my kind of shimmers, but I found a way of sort of working with them to the best advantage. I think you definitely need to use some sort of glitter glue or primer to get them to adhere so you don't get lots of little specks of glitter fall out. Because I'm so wary of glitter around my eyes, that's what worries me. It's not that I don't like them, but the Shade Machine, just a beautiful shade of green. It is really sparkly and glitzy. This shade Encrypted had a bit more of a kind of putty consistency in the pan. Not my favourite. I was struggling to pick that up on a brush. As I say, when I picked it up with my finger, it was beautiful. But that limits you because you can't really get the precision to get it into like the inner part of your lid, which is why I don't like doing that. But it has got other shimmer formulas in here, so that Nightmare shade that I used is more like that really smooth, almost satiny shimmer formula, which I don't mind that at all. It's not nearly so impactful, but it was easy to pick up and it still looks really pretty on the lower lash line. I think that shade Distortion there will be a similar formula to the purple shimmer. I think they're looking very similar in the pan. And these two are quite, well, all three of those are quite smooth as well. I think that shade Hack will have that similar glitter in it, but it is really pretty. But yeah, love the deep dark intensity that I got from the matte. So that Spaced shade and the Grunge shade, the purple, so the purple and the green that I've used in the look. They're really impactful. They don't blend away. You know, you can see on that lower lash line just how much intensity is still there, even though I did blend underneath. The shades that I blended out the green with, so Plasma and Slime, they're not that impressive over the base that I use, but I think Slime over a white base mixed in a look with that Grunge, so all matte look with that on the lid and that in the crease and in the outer corner would look amazing for a Halloween look. What else I like about the colour story is that there's so much you can do with this. So you could do a pretty basic neutral look. You've got browns and like caramels. You could go more red leaning. You've got a black and a white matte in here, which helps you to intensify the other shades if you want to do that. I also like this kind of inky blue here. Like, I'm not a fan of blue really, but a deep dark navy inky blue like that, I'm all about that. So inspired by this palette. So glad I picked it up. As I say, the shimmer formula isn't my favourite and the matte formula I love. So kind of half the palette I like, but I can work with the shimmers. It's just a little bit more tricky for me and how I like to apply my makeup. So I think for the price though, you're getting 20 shades for £15 in a beautiful package. I mean, I think they've excelled themselves with the artwork on the front. So yeah, all in all, I'm super happy I picked it up and I can't wait to play with it again. So that's my thoughts on it so far. Obviously this is only a first impressions and I've not used too many of the shades, but tried to use as many as I could while still creating a cohesive eye look. So yeah, so I think I might do a sort of a further two looks with this palette because I've got so many ideas for it and I'm just excited to play with it, which, you know, that in itself says something about the palette, and it's mainly the colour story that's really getting me. So yeah, I didn't pick up any of the other Halloween palettes, just as a side note, because the pound is about on parity with the dollar, and then when you add on the shipping cost, which is often about $25, to order a palette like, say, the Doodles by the Bunny Gourmand Girls Spooked palette, which I really like the look of, I'd end up spending £100. I mean, you're getting into Pat McGrath territory then, and I'd just rather buy Pat McGrath because I know what I'm buying with that. She ships for free and there's no taxes either. So yeah. That's why I didn't pick up any of the indie releases that are Halloween inspired, but I can do a lot with this palette and I've got a lot of other Halloween palettes in my collection. So guys, I hope you enjoyed watching my first impressions on it and you're looking forward to seeing more looks with it. You'll have to let me know if you've picked this one up and what you think to it. And if you're new to my channel and this is your first video of mine, hi, welcome. I'm Debbie and I do colourful makeup looks like this more often than not. I try to do quite dramatic looks and different interesting colour combinations quite often as well. And I try to use mostly what I have in my collection. It's not, as I say, too often that I'm picking up new things at the moment, so I'm using a lot of the older makeup that I own. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel. But thanks for watching this video, guys. Hope you're keeping safe and well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.